Welcome back to our second session on Ruth, and today we're going to look at Ruth chapter 2. But before going there, let's just do a little recap from chapter 1. With chapter 1, we found out about this couple that went off to the land of Moab because of a drought. And this couple had two sons. They went along over there to the land of Moab, and while over there, first off, the husband died. The two sons married Moabite women, but shortly after that, they too died, and then we were left with Naomi with her mother, or with her daughters-in-law. So today we're going to look at Ruth chapter 2, whenever Ruth and Naomi have just returned to the land of Judah, and they're returning back home to the city of Bethlehem. And here's a nice picture of a grain harvest right outside of Bethlehem. Here's some ladies that are gathering grain and putting it into shocks and preparing for the final harvest of collecting the grain. So as we begin with this chapter, it's interesting that we're introduced to a new character. And here in chapter 2, verse 1, it says, "Now Naomi had a relative of her husband's, a worthy man of the clan of Elimelech, whose name was Boaz." And this kind of gives us maybe some hope in that there's someone that's a relative of Naomi. Could this person possibly address the dire situation that they're in? Remember, these two women come back. Naomi has said, "I'm destitute, I have nothing, I went out full, but here I come back and I'm empty." Can this person possibly be this hopeful answer to their situation? Also, note how Boaz is described here. He's a worthy man of the clan of Elimelech. This is the Hebrew word gabor chayil, which gets the idea he's not a deadbeat. This is a person that is a person of means, a person of value, a person of wealth. Can also mean an idea of a military idea of a guy that's strong in battle. But I think the idea here is he's a person of means. He has wealth, he has substance, and it's something, again, presenting the situation as a possible positive situation here. So the narrator is setting the stage with some tension. Again, could this be the promising situation for Naomi, a kinsman redeemer? Note also it is the beginning of the barley harvest, provision of food. So again, they went out, there was a famine, now they're coming back. Bethlehem, again, it looks like they're going to have food in the near future. God is providing for them. Next, verse 2. "And Ruth the Moabite said to Naomi, 'Let me go to the field and glean among the ears of grain after him in whose sight I shall find favor.' And Naomi responds to her, 'Go, my daughter, you may go.'" Now, interestingly, how she describes this situation. Remember, we're in the time of the judges. It's not a safe period. So she's going out. She wants to go somewhere where she'll find favor, that someone will accept her to come in and glean. But it's a very tenuous situation. So she's asking permission to go out, and her mother-in-law says, "Yes, go out, and may this be the case." So another thing to just point out about this, Ruth, in her desiring to glean, it shows that she's industrious. She's not someone that, "I'm just looking for a handout." She's actually going to go and do something to address her situation. And she's thinking about her mother-in-law. Remember, she's made this commitment, this vow to her in chapter 1, that she's going to remain with her. Wherever you go, I'll go. Your people are going to be my people. Where you lodge, I'll lodge. Your God's going to be my God. Where you die, I'm going to die. And I'll be with you. So here she's thinking about, what can I do to address this situation? And she knows it's barley harvest time. Let me go out and see if I can find favor with someone who will allow me to go behind and pick up the scraps. So presenting her in good light. So she set out and went and gleaned in the field after the reapers. And she happened to come to the part of the field belonging to Boaz, who was of the clan of Elimelech. Now, let me ask you something. Just happened? Really? Really? Remember, God so far is absent in the book from their perspective. Naomi thinks God is against her. God is out to get her. God has brought ruin into her life. Question here, did it just so happen that she ended up in this kinsman redeemer's land? The narrator's pointing to you and saying, that's not the case. God is behind this. There's providence here, that God is directing what's happening. And behold, next verse, and behold, Boaz came from Bethlehem, and he said to the reapers, the Lord may be with you, or the Lord be with you. And they answered, the Lord bless you. This idea of, look, it's introducing to the the narrator is introducing to the audience here, the reader, behold, like, enter the story. Look, here this guy we just told you about, this possible kinsman redeemer. Here he is. Here he's coming. And Ruth's nearby. What's going to happen? And notice how he is addressing his workers. The interchange here between Boaz and his workers. He's using the name of the Lord. Again, think back to the book of Judges. How is their thought, how's their theology? Where's their theology concerning the Lord? They have a twisted view. Many of them have a twisted view of who God is. But here, this individual, he's using God's most personal name, the Lord. And he is pronouncing blessing upon his workers, and his workers are responding back to him, may the Lord, may Yahweh bless you. That also tells us something about what it is like to work for Boaz. Think about that. Again, remember the period of the Judges, very dangerous time period. But here, people are not being abused. People are receiving blessing. It's a good, stable, peaceful situation that Boaz is bringing about. Again, you should see the contrast here, the stark contrast between this and the rest of the book of Judges, the time in which we're in. So think about what other things this may give clues to us about with the situation here. Again, it's bringing shalom. Whenever we have a situation at this time that's not the case. There's not peace. There's not wholeness that's being experienced in the land. Instead, it's a time of chaos. But Boaz is bringing peace, shalom. Relationship here too. Note the relationship between the workers and Boaz, relationship with God. It's like a spot in the midst of this mess where really God's light is shining. His goodness is there. And you're going to see this unpacked in the actions of Boaz with Ruth. So right after this greeting, then he goes to the young man who's in charge of the reapers, who's leading the endeavor, and asks this question, whose young woman is this? This woman that's here. I notice there's someone new here today. Who is this? And the servant who was in charge of the reapers answered, she's the young Moabite woman. Note that she's described with her ethnic identity, this backdrop of she's the Moabite woman who came back with Naomi from the country of Moab. She said, please let me glean and gather among the sheaves after the reapers. So she came, and she has continued from early morning until now, except for a short rest. There's some discussion over how do we read verse 7, because it can be taken some different ways. It could mean that she has come here in the morning seeking permission to go out and glean, but she's waiting. She hasn't gone out and actually gleaned yet. She's waiting to get the permission. That's from you, Boaz. So it could be that she's standing there and Boaz is like, who's this person standing here? What's the deal? And the answer to this is she's been waiting here now to get your answer for what to do. And Boaz is going to give her permission here in a moment. But it could also be how this has been translated, which I take as a pretty good way to render this. She's come, she got initial permission, she's worked hard all day, and now she's just taken a moment's rest underneath the hut. Here's a model of a hut in the land of of Israel that it would be a temporary place to put out in the field to protect people from the sun, take a break in the middle of the day. And so the idea here would be that she would be coming and taking a break. She's worked all morning. It's time for a rest. So then Boaz goes to Ruth and says, now listen, my daughter. Notice how he's treating her with nice terms of respect and kindness. Do not go and glean another field or leave this one, but keep close to my young women. Let your eyes be on the field that they are reaping and go after them. Have I not charged the young men not to touch you? And when you are thirsty, go to the vessels and drink what the young men have drawn. So here you see him addressing Ruth's situation, giving her permission, what she's seeking to do, come here and get food, glean. But notice, he's giving her more than what's even expected. All she wanted was just to go out and glean. But he said, you know what, stay with my workers. Stay with the other women. That's providing safety for her. Also, I've told my young men, the workers out there, to not mess with you, not touch you. Again, within the time of the judges, remember this is where women get abused. There's been rapes that's happened out in the fields. And in here, Boaz is saying, I'm going to bring about protection for you. It's going to be safety for you. And then in addition to that, if you're thirsty, come by and get water from what's drawn from the men. So he's providing for her in that way as well, being very kind. So Boaz's actions here, I would say, reveals that he knows the law. Again, you look through the book of Judges. What's the theme? Everyone's doing what's right in their own eyes. No one knows the law. So it's amazing. Here is a guy that knows the law and what? Follows it, but even more than that. He goes beyond it and provides protection and water. So it's unpacking what we were told, verse 1, about this guy. He's a man of valor, right? An upstanding person. And he's living up to that here and how he's taking care of this person. And note, this isn't just a fellow Israelite. This is a foreigner. This is an outsider. The text is making a big deal about that. The Moabite that returned with Naomi. And this guy is providing for her. Next, her response to his kindness. Then she fell on her face, bowing to the ground, and said to him, why have I found favor in your eyes? I mean, she gets that this is being lavished kindness. She doesn't deserve this. Why have I found favor in your eyes that you should take notice of me, since I am notice how she's identifying herself, her identity? I'm a foreigner. Nobody, I'm an outsider. But you are showing favor and kindness. Why? Well, Boaz is going to answer this to a degree, but I don't think this is just the answer fully. I mean, it's not just based on her works. It's Boaz's kindness, who he is as a person. But Boaz answered her, all that you have done for your mother-in-law since the death of your husband has been fully told to me. So maybe he didn't see her before and connect the dots of this is the Moabite woman that came back, but he heard about her and he knew about her character. This is the talk of the neighborhood, right? Remember when Naomi comes back, they're all, can this be Naomi? And wow, you're back. And she's like, don't call me Naomi. Mara, I'm bitter, my life's miserable. But here comes this person from the land of Moab back along with her. And they're all wondering, like, who would come back with Naomi? And who's remaining with her and being loyal and faithful? So her reputation is preceding her.